This is NEWSWIRE LA, and I'm your host, Chin Thomasangsi. Let's continue our look inside of the City of Los Angeles' Bureau of Street Lighting right now. We've been out here this morning just west of Carthay Circle, watching crews from the Bureau of Street Lighting converting this neighborhood's conventional lights to the all-new LED fixtures. The process itself has been really interesting and informative. Our hosts have been great, and they've really gone out of their way to show us the nuts and bolts of what they do and how it affects us. When we ended our last segment, we found out how we could help prevent or even stop copper theft in the city. Well, there's one more issue that's come up since we've been out here, and I'd like to tackle it before we wrap up and head back to the maintenance yard. We saw a frustrated motorist get out of her car and actually move a safety cone. That got us wondering.
Now, we saw an interesting situation, and I'm just going to have a little fun with it. I'm driving my car. I'm late for a meeting. I got to get there in 10 minutes, and I got to get from here to Venice Boulevard. The way your truck is parked right now, I can actually get past you, but you've got your little your orange cone in the street. Can I get out and move that cone and pass you?
It is illegal. It is against the law for you to take and move that cone. You have disrupted a work area now, and anything that happens from that factor, you are responsible for. And you may end up causing a major accident and not even realize it as you drive down the street. The crew puts the cones out for the safety of the public, for the crew, and for our equipment. And we've seen more than once where people were in a rush and squeezed by something and created an accident, and they were 5 minutes late before. Well, now they have to sit and wait for the police to come. And if you leave a site like that after you've hit and not given information, not wait for the police, that's a hit and run felony. And you will be prosecuted by the City of Los Angeles.
So folks, remember, moving a safety cone is an illegal act, and there could be legal ramifications that result. If you think this is just another poke in the eye for you, see it from the crew's point of view.
Just in general, what do citizens need to know when they're passing through areas where city crews are working, such as your crew? What do you want them to know?
One is to be respectful of the crew. They're out trying to do a job, and 99% of the time that they're doing a job is a safety issue. The lighting is a safety issue. They're not out closing streets because they get a kick out of it. We're doing it because we have to. City crews are human beings just like everybody else, and our number one goal is safety for the public and for the employees. Employees get hit. Everybody reads about it all the time. If you take 2 extra minutes and just look and evaluate and follow the instructions given to you, your life is a lot easier, and the crews go home to their wives and families. This is a difficult job. Not a lot of people want this job. Not a lot of people want to do this. Residents see them and are amazed at what we do in the time fashion we do. We always hear all the bad about city employees, but look around, and if you see an employee doing a good job, how about calling in for that?
And if you'd like to make that call, we remind you, the best number to dial is 311 and ask for the Bureau of Street Lighting. You can't help but be impressed with how they attack and conquer the tasks they've been charged with. This wraps up our time in the field. We're heading back to East Hollywood in the Bureau's Central Maintenance Yard. We'll show you some exciting sights, including the Bureau's unofficial Museum of Street Lighting. 30 minutes east of our previous location is the Bureau's Central Maintenance Yard. The front office building is relatively nondescript, but don't be fooled. Behind the building and the fences that surround it are acres of everything needed to keep LA's street lighting system operational. What you see here is just a small sample of what's to come. These are shelves loaded with miscellaneous parts. We see lamppost bases, finials, collars, and decorative caps. Most fit the cast iron standards that are still in use throughout the city today. Though most of these parts are salvage, new replica parts can be obtained in some cases, and the Bureau's weld shop can also repair damaged pieces, which also save the taxpayers money. Let's have a little fun. Let's say I'm looking for a finial. That's the decorative cap on top of this pole. Also, let's go for the base. For our purposes, let's say the base has been damaged by a car. Can I find it back at the yard? Well, yes indeed. Here's the finial. The base. Now let me look. I know it's here somewhere. It's here. Over here maybe. And here's the base. Indulge me one more time. Let's say this light standard on the West Boulevard Bridge in Mid-City was damaged. This looks like a big job, right? Well, the Bureau can handle it. Look right over there. 2 replacements are waiting and ready to go. There are so many new and replacement parts here that I want to show you. So let's just walk around and take a look, shall we? Talking us through some of this will be BSL Division Manager Chris Mossman. You'll make his acquaintance later in this piece. Los Angeles' street lighting network covers 400 square miles, about 5,000 miles worth of road, and over 200,000 plus street lights. When these poles go down due to car accidents or other events, how do you guys replace them?
Well, we try to replace these in kind because there's none unlike them. We don't have any more of the original bronze lights, but we have some replicas made in aluminum, and the poles are cast iron, and we can have the parts recast. We also have a very good shop here where we do repairs to a lot of our old cast iron and steel streetlight poles. That's part of our expertise here. We have a couple of welders that know how to fix some of these because some of them, the ones in the field, are all that's left. We have no spare, especially the ones that were installed 80, 90 years ago. We still have some systems in operation that were energized in the early 1920s with the original equipment. The light bulbs have been changed, or the lamps as we call them, but the underground conduit and cable and the poles are all original.
Here's the main entrance to the building. Aside from offices and work areas, this building houses several of the Bureau's museum pieces. On the east wall are several examples of pendant, utility, and Cobra head lights. Some of these have been used and in some cases are still working on bridges and utility poles. Some were or are used on decorative posts, such as those around City Hall or the downtown corridor. And then there are the relatively common Cobra heads. On the north wall are a mix of Cobra heads, mast arm lights, and post-mounted lights that were common in parks and on pedestrian walkways. And now this is the walk. This is the walk I have been looking forward to for hours. This is the Bureau's unofficial museum of LA street lighting. Now for everyone out there, I have to be the bearer of bad news. This museum is not open to the public. We got in with special permission from the Bureau, but we're happy to be your eyes and ears and we'll show it to you now. Let's be clear, not every streetlight from LA's history has been kept, but the best examples here have been saved. In many cases, what you see is the only example of its kind left in existence, and once it's gone, it's gone. There are bridge lights. There are post-mounted and wall-mounted lanterns. Oh, and tucked in the middle is a keystone timing box. There are more bridge lights. Do you see that radial light? It's an oldie from the DWP. There's some pendant lights, and then there's the Wilshire Special. We're coming up on the torch styles, which we still use variants of today. On the north wall are more classic lamps, including the 1906 model. But before I use up all of my time, I want to invite Chris Mossman back in to tell us, well, tell you, some of the things he wants you to know about his department.
What I really want them to know is that we all take pride in our street lighting system. We all live and breathe street lighting. For most people that drive up and down the streets, most people don't notice there are street lights. Actually, before I started with the Bureau of Street Lighting back 25 years ago, I have no interest, I didn't even know what a street light was. But now, everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I always check out the street lights in my travels around the world. I even got my wife looking at them now, because they really do take a piece of history from a city. A lot of it's art, architecture, and not only do they bring safety to the streets, but they brings a little something extra to the community when you have a special type of light. And everyone here at the Bureau of Street Lighting really loves our street lights and take pride in everything we do every day.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, very welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is NEWSWIRE LA, and I'm your host, Chin Thomasangsi. Well, that concludes our look inside of the City of Los Angeles' Bureau of Street Lighting. We hope over the past few reports that you've gained a new appreciation for what this group does for us each and every day. Also, we want you to keep an eye on the LED conversions that are taking place throughout the city. It's really exciting, and it's taking street lighting into a whole new direction. You'll be seeing more reports from inside City Hall on future broadcasts, so stay tuned. If you want to keep up with NEWSWIRE LA, look us up on Facebook and Twitter at NEWSWIRE LA. That's it, and for all of us here at NEWSWIRE LA, we thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here next time.
you.